Hi everyone! Today I want to show you how to make a gyoza and 2 recipes that use leftover dough. I got fresh garlic chives from the Chinatown last week for a good price, so I decided to make a gyoza. I believe garlic chives makes gyoza, but if you can't find them, you can substitute to leeks, scallions, or onions. Making gyoza is easy but time consuming. A lot of choppings and folding involved. I usually make a lot of them at once on the weekend and freeze them so I can use them when I don't feel like or don't have time to cook, especially during the week. After I chopped garlic chives, I dehydrate them with the salt. I put about 2 tablespoons of salt. It looks a lot, but it's not for the portion I'm making. Make sure you mix and squeeze well. When you go to Asian supermarkets, you can find garlic chives all year round. Let it sit for a bit while I'm chopping other vegetables. It keeps dehydrating. Garlic chives are rich in vitamin C, which prevents from cold and fever. Also rich in other stuff, helping blood count increase. Next one is napa cabbage. Do the same thing. If you don't find napa cabbage, you can use regular cabbage or bok choy. These bring sweetness to the dough. I don't know if I should say dough, putty, meatball. If you have a food processor that drops vegetable from the top to bottom, I think you can use that, but I avoid to use the ones that braise move sideways. You will mix vegetables and get mushy texture. I put about a tablespoon of salt. Try to chop the vegetable fine. When you cook the gyoza, you don't want to have a big chunk of vegetables, but you also don't want to get mushy texture of a vegetable either. This is gyoza skin. I bought it at the Japanese supermarket. It's about 50 sheets in the pack. They are usually at the freezer section. Like this. About $3 for 50 sheets. Then last ingredient is hydrated dry shiitake mushroom. I usually see at the Asian section at the Whole Foods. But if you don't find it, of course you can use any kind of mushroom. But dry shiitake has more umami flavor than the fresh one. Also from 3 to 30 times more nutrition in the dry shiitake mushroom compared to fresh shiitake mushroom. Of course I don't throw the liquid. It's full of nutrition in there. I shred the ginger. If you like ginger flavor more pronounced, you can put more ginger, but I put about 1.5 tablespoon. By the way, some people added shredded garlic as well, but since I'm already using garlic chives, I don't put it. The flavor is already there. Look at how much water came out. I squeezed extra liquid out. Once I added sauce, it absorbed well. Today I'm making gyoza with the garlic chives, napa cabbage, and shiitake mushrooms. This is quite standard ingredient for it. But again, you can play with it. You can put vegetables that you have in the fridge or whatever you can buy at the supermarket. You can add carrots. You can add it zucchini, sprouts. You can add it shrimp so it doesn't get too meaty. You can put cheese as well. You can make tofu vegetable gyoza as well. Like I say, creation is all yours. Look how much they shrunk. This is a pound of ground pork. Pork has a good fattiness, so I only use ground pork, but you can of course use beef, chicken, turkey, whatever you like. This is oyster sauce. I bought it at the Chinese supermarket, but you can find at the Asian section at regular supermarkets. I'm doing hens ketchup method. tap the number 57 so oyster sauce comes out. Then added about a half tablespoon of soy sauce. I already put 3 tablespoons of salt in the vegetable, so I didn't put too much. Then about 2 tablespoons of sake to make the meat softer. The last one is a sesame oil to have a nice aroma and added a bit of fat. If you don't have a sesame oil, you can use different oil, but maybe you need to add it more if you're not using the pork. Other meats might comes out a bit dry. That's why I only make gyoza with the pork. Then I mix well, very well, until it gets sticky and white. Then I set up my workstation. This is a fun process to do it with your kids or friends. I used to do that with my mother. Then you can finish faster. A bit of water in the bowl. This is a potato starch called katakuriko in Japanese. I use it pretty often, so I have it. But if you don't have it, you can use cornstarch or flour. I'm using this to not stick them together, so it's not necessary to buy them just for this. My station is ready. I put about a tablespoon of dough in the middle of the skin. The shape should be oval, not circle. Then rub water to only a half of the skin to seal. I usually start sealing from the center. Then you keep folding. If meat comes out, just remove it. I tend to stuff too much, as you can see. After I sealed it, I placed it on a flat surface so the bottom part becomes flat. Gyoza skin, usually one side have more flour. I use that for outside so it doesn't stick on the pans. And also when I fry them, the skin gets crispier. You can find gyoza skin at the Koreans and Chinese supermarket as well, but make sure to buy Japanese one if you want to make a Japanese style gyoza. Japanese style gyoza skin is thinner, so it comes out crispier. Originally, gyoza came from China. Mainly Chinese people eat steamed or boiled dumplings. I usually have a buddy to fold this together, but he's out today, so I made it all by myself. It's kind of a calming process, so I don't mind. Keep folding. I only had a pack of gyoza skin, so I made Asian meatballs with the leftover meat. I will share a few recipes how I use them at the end of this episode. If you want to make a homemade gyoza skin, I'm pretty sure you can find a recipe online, but make sure the skin is thin. I tap the flour to make sure that bottom doesn't stick on the pan after I freeze them. You can use a parchment paper under the gyoza as well. I covered my meatballs with potato starchy to make sure the shape doesn't fall apart when I cook in the soup. Put them in the freezer overnight. This is a frozen gyoza and meatballs. I keep them in a Ziploc like this, then use them whenever I want to eat. This is how I cook gyoza. Place frozen gyoza on non-stick fry pan, no oil needed. Turn the heat. Added water up to a half of a gyoza. Yes, it's a lot, but you need to cook frozen meat about 10 minutes. Cover with a lid. Once it starts boiling, turn the heat low. Once water dehydrate, pour potato starchy and water mix over gyoza. If you don't have potato starchy, you can skip this process. This liquid is for making wings. We call wings, but those crunchy bit around gyoza, so it's not necessary. Just add sesame oil or any oil to burn the bottom so it gets crispy. You don't need to cover with a lid at this point. Cook it with a high heat to remove the extra water out. Once it gets brown, it's ready to eat. I made a wakame soup on the side with homemade Asian chicken stock. I will share this recipe in another episode. I'm making the gyoza dipping sauce. In the little bowl, mix soy sauce, rice vinegar, or any vinegar you have. If you like hot flavor, add hot oil. We call it layu. You get them from Chinese takeout sometimes, but not the hot sauce. This is oil. Now I flip the gyoza. Because of non-stick pan, it comes out easy. This is okay. I just need a bit of help from spatula. That's it. Itadakimasu. Next, I want to show you how I use the meatballs. One recipe is Asian meatball with the vermicelli. This is my homemade chicken stock. Of course, you can use store-bought stock or broth. I chopped the vegetables I had in the fridge, like napa cabbage, carrots, sprouts, bamboo shoot. I added 2 meatballs from the gyoza bag. Garlic chives makes your breath a little smelly, so I recommend to eat at night or with people. These vermicellis are pretty cheap. I bought the bag for $3 and one bag came with the 8 bags of the vermicelli. But if you don't have it, of course you can substitute to angel hair, noodles, whatever you find at your supermarket or at your home. Add it hearty vegetable first. When I cook my own stock, I don't add it salt, so I add it. While you're cooking, make sure you keep tasting the soup so it doesn't get too salty or too light. Cook until vegetable and the meatball gets soft and cook. And then add other vegetables like leaf parts of napa cabbage and sprout. Those cook right away. Cook for a minute. That's it. Very simple. This is healthier than the cup noodles and very easy to cook. That's it. It was for my lunch. Itadakimasu. The last one is an Asian style stuffed mushroom. I just stuffed meatballs filling and steamed them. It can be a main or a side dish for your dinner. I defreeze the meatballs. I put them out room temperature for like 30 minutes so the inside is still frozen, which is supposed to not be. But the best way to defreeze the meatball is let it sit in the fridge for overnight, but it's all good. Stuff the meatball inside of a fresh shiitake mushrooms. Place them in the pan. I usually leave any fresh mushrooms under the sun like this for a half day, like 6 hours or so, and nutrition and umami increase. There's a study that doing this increase twice more vitamin D of a shiitake mushroom after putting under the sun for over 6 hours. I added oil, but not necessary if you're using non-stick pan. Since I'm using melting cheese on the top, I should have used a non-stick pan, but it's okay. Added a bit of water to steam them and cover with a lid and cook for about 10 minutes. When you cook a mushroom, try to use with oil. Oil helps to absorb vitamin D better in your body. Added melting cheese on the top. Cover it again to let it melt, so cook for another minute or so. That's it. Simple. Itadakimasu. Thank you for watching.